Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ignorant Intellectual on Media. Today, I thought we'd do something a little bit different. Um, no mixed haul today, although I got all this stuff that I need to go through, so that will be coming up soon. But today, I thought I'd talk about Shout Factory or Shout, um, excuse me, Shout Studios as they call it now. Anyway, so probably exactly like yourself, you know, given your email to all the different boutique cinema labels around the globe. At least the more popular ones. I've done it with Arrow and British Film Institute, Indicator, Shout, uh, Shout Factory, Criterion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you get the emails every month. And in between, where they advertise their sales or send you an email about some sales or what's coming up, um, what they're going to be putting out soon, and you can pre-order it and maybe get a special deal for it and all that. I usually just read them over, look at them, and then I just move on with my life. But every once in a while, uh, something that one of the companies ends up putting out catches my eye. The last one was um, the Criterion Collection with Exotica, the Adam McGoyan Canadian film Exotica, extremely good. My vote for the greatest Canadian film of all time. Um, and they blessed it with a Criterion release on Blu-ray, which I ended up getting as a present because I wasn't going to spend that like $50 to get a movie. I just can't do it, right? So, but when you have something that you really want, and I had the movie. It took me a long time to find the movie on DVD, and I actually found it on DVD after uh, somebody ended up ordering the uh, the Blu-ray for me. So I ended up having the Blu-ray and the DVD pretty much almost at the same time, right? But it was years before I found it on even DVD, and then Criterion put it out on Blu-ray, and that was awesome, right? And I'm going, cool. It was the only time that so far in my movie collecting that I was tempted to buy something new for an extreme amount of money. I mean, for me, extreme amount of money. 50, 60, $70, $100 for something put out by a boutique cinema. No, it's personally, I just can't do it. I can't justify that. I do everything by. I don't know if you do this or not. Just as an aside, quickly, when you purchase things, do you look at it as in how much you make compared to how much you purchase? Right. Like all through my life, I've always, whatever job I've had, um, I've always compared it. So let's say I make $20 an hour. I'll look at something. Let's say I go into a store and I see a 65-inch TV that's $800, and I'll go, okay, I make $20 an hour. That's going to take me, 40 hours to make that money. So, um, excuse me, still getting over a cold. Um, would I would I go and work and do my job for 40 hours? So let's say for a week, and then my boss says, I'm not going to give you money, but I'm going to give you this, 65-inch TV that's worth $800. Would I do it? All right. And if I think it's worth it, then I would and I'd buy it. So when I look at a movie and it's like by the time it gets to my house from shipping and buying it new and everything, it's going to cost me 50 or $60. I go, would I work 3 hours and then my boss would give me this movie? No, probably not. You know what I mean? I could probably wait and find it used, find it in the secondary market for like $20, $15 maybe if I'm lucky. Um, but paying a new price, no, I just so that's how I always look at things when I'm buying things. I go, okay, would I work a certain amount of hours in order to get the pay that I get, and then my boss would give me this item or these items instead of cash? Would I do it, right? And if it's a yes, then I'll do it. If it's a no, then I wouldn't, right? Um, so it gives you a good perspective on your spending, right? So anyway, so saying all that, so Shout Factory ended up sending me an email of their November 2023 lineup of films, right? So I thought maybe I'd go through it and leave the last one that really grabbed my attention um, for the last, and then talk about that film. All right. So uh, in the email, the films that are going to be coming out in November are Ernest and Celestine, A Trip to Giberitia. Giberitia. Don't know anything about that film, um, so I would order it anyways. All right. Also, these are all Blu-rays. Okay. So they're all coming out on Blu-ray for the first time. So Force Vengeance, the Chuck Norris film, that was a fun film to watch. A little bit brutal, but you know, uh, those are my favorite kind of films where Chuck Norris uses his fists more than he uses guns, right? Like the ones that he became famous for were all the Vietnam War films that he would go in with these big guns and go save people and stuff. I never thought that was as much fun as watching him, apply his martial art, right? Uh, so that one's kind of cool, but I wouldn't buy it as well. I wouldn't buy any of these new, but just as a information thing. Funeral Home, the special edition. All right. Funeral Home is a B movie horror film, and then this one, I well, if I would see it used for a reasonable amount, for let's say under $15, I would probably pick it up. And this is a Street Girls, which is prostitute exploitation, sexploitation film. I like sexploitation films, um, so I would probably pick that one up. And this one is pretty interesting. Maybe you guys would you know would be interested in it, because this one seems to be probably for me, if I was to critically look at stuff, this one would probably be the one that would interest me the most, except for the one that I'm about uh, to show you. And this one is Chef Factory's Jennifer 8. I don't know if you remember that film, right? And this one is on Blu-ray as well. These are all Blu-rays, right? They have a sale on it. Originally $52 for Jennifer 8 on Blu-ray. Do you believe that? Would you pay $52 for? I mean, that's American too. It's not Canadian, right? And 42. They have it on sale for $42. Yeah. Okay. Jennifer 8 was a pretty good film. If you're an Uma Thurman fan, you'll probably really like it. Andy Garcia's in it as well, but Uma Thurman is, for most guys, would be the attraction of that film. But $52, yeah, not for me, sir, not for me at all. All right, so um, next up is the Stephen King film. I seen this film in the theater, and I don't recall much of it, but I didn't think it was all that great. Now I read the book, and the book was quite interesting. And the book was, oh, by the way, the film is named Thinner. All right, and it's out on Blu-ray for the first time. Um, so Thinner is basically, well, the book, because I saw the movie, and the movie kind of was similar to the book, but I don't remember the movie as well as I do the book. And the book is basically about a guy who, carelessly is driving, he's not paying attention, he ends up hitting the husband. This old couple hit the husband and it looked like kills the husband. So the woman, who's a gypsy, puts a curse on him and touches him on the forehead or touches him somewhere on his body and says thinner. And then after that, he ends up excuse me, ends up losing weight. No matter how much he eats, he just continues to lose weight until he's going to go down to a skeleton. So he goes on a search to find this gypsy woman to get the curse off of him and to apologize to her. And I won't tell you what happens at the end, but the end in the movie, yeah, Stephen King did a great job in that the ending for that, right? So I can't remember what the ending of the film was, but uh, if I was to do a book versus film, I did when I first started doing a lot of these videos. I did some film versus book comparisons, and they didn't really get much traction. I mean, like in the teens. I mean, most of my videos will get in the 50 to 250 view range. Not big or anything, but it's nice to see some people are interested in the videos. Um, like I said in a previous video, mostly this is just having an archive for my son to watch after my death, because I had him quite late in life, and by the time he becomes an adult, I'll probably end up, you know, I'll be in my 70s or dead, right? Um, so, uh, so I'm making these videos for him as well, plus some private videos. But but also it'd be nice if other people were interested in the videos. But anyway, so Thinner collector's edition on Blu-ray. It uh, was an okay movie, but the book was definitely better than the movie. If I was to do a comparison, right? So, and they're selling it for originally 36, $37, and now they're selling it for 30, right? So on sale for $30. All right, to pre-order. All right, and so to review before I bring up the last one, so we have Ernest and Celestine, a trip to Gibberitia, Forced Vengeance, the Chuck Norris film, Funeral Home, that the horror film, and then the sexploitation film Street Girls, and then Jennifer 8, which is probably the one that people know the most, and then Thinner. And the last one, this is the one that I would. Oh no, sorry, Saint Ives is the next one, and that's the Charles Bronson film where he plays Ray Saint Ives. Um, I don't know much about that film. Like if you were to, all the '70s action stars, Chuck Norris is one, Charles Bronson was another, right? Um, I always liked the Charles Bronson films over the Chuck Norris films or any of the other. I don't know why I like Chuck Norris more than the rest of his movies. Aren't all that great. He was in a few really good films. The first Death Wish was pretty good. He was in Once Upon a Time in the West. He played the harmonica guy, right? Which was pretty good. And St. Ives is another one. The Evil That Men Do, that one wasn't too bad. But most of his films are kind of like B films, right? So, but there is one that I really, really enjoyed when I watched it when I was in my early 20s. And St. Ives isn't it, but that was the last one. And this one is also a Charles Bronson film, and that's Telephone. Now, Telephone, I have been looking for that film for years, and it's only come out on DVD until now. Now it's on Blu-ray. And if you don't know anything about Telephone is basically Charles Bronson, stars Charles Bronson and Lee Remick. Lee Remick, yeah, great actress, Lee Remick, and Donald Pleasance. Now, Donald Pleasance, you may know or may not know, he was in a lot of films in the '70s. He was in, can I remember what he's in? No, I can't. I know he's in this film, and he's in a few horror films. He was in, the Halloween films, the first Halloween film. He played the psychiatrist or whatever. Anyway, so that guy, right? So he's in this film, but in this film, he's a Russian spy. And basically, what happened is during the Cold War, after World War II, when the Russians and the Americans started the Cold War, Russia started planting spies in the United States and brainwashing them so they think that they're American, all right, and they don't know that they're spies. So basically, they're ticking time bombs. And what happens is Donald Pleasance gets the list. I don't know if he's a Russian or if he's like a pissed off American. I can't remember now. It's been a long time since I've seen the film. Um, and he starts making phone calls. That's why it's called Telephone. All right. Phone calls to these sleeper agents, and they go start blowing stuff up. Now, their missions were supposed to have happened like decades earlier. So a lot of the things that they're blowing up or destroying aren't there anymore, right? And so Charles Bronson, who's like a CIA agent, has to go um, and find Donald Pleasance before he starts killing hundreds of thousands of Americans just because he's pissed off at the United States, right? So he goes out and searching for Donald Pleasance, and I thought that was a pretty cool premise, even though you can't really brainwash anybody, unless you have them when they're children, right? Um, but overall, they may have been children when, yeah, I think they were children, anyways. Like I said, it's been like, well, since the early '80s that I've seen this film, so more than 30 years ago, right? And I've been searching for it when I started seriously collecting films, which was about 3 or 4 years ago. Um, that was one of the films that I wanted to find, and I still haven't been able to find it. Um, I could go on eBay and buy it for like a ridiculous amount of money. Um, if you include the shipping, anyways, you may be able to get it for like $8 or $10, but then the shipping will be $25 or $35, right? So I just I can't justify spending like $40 or $50 on a DVD of Telephone, right? But now, um, the Screen Factory or Shout Factory, all right, let's put it out on Blu-ray, and what do they want for it? They want $27.99 for it. Basically, $34.93. Order it early. Special price of $27.99. Now, by the time I get that from them, it's going to be in the $40 to $50 range for it. So obviously, if I get it, it'll end up being a present. So I'll just keep it on my Christmas list. Christmas is coming up. Maybe I'll end up getting it. But if you've never seen Telephone and you can find it, you can't find the Blu-ray because it hasn't come out yet. It's going to be coming out from Shout Factory, right? So, um, but if you can find it on DVD, watch it and tell me what you think. If you've seen the film before, tell me what you think. It's my all-time favorite, maybe except for Death Wish, but no, I think it's my all-time favorite film that stars Charles Bronson. Well, you got three of them that I really, really enjoy. I watch them over and over again, or I would if I had them. And that is, like I said, Once Upon a Time in the West, which is my vote for the greatest Western of all time, the spaghetti Western, and Telephone, and the Death Wish films. I also watched. I don't know if you've watched the Bronson film, The Evil That Men Do. Um, that was a pretty brutal film when I saw that in the 80s as well, but I didn't like it as much as I like Telephone. So if you're a fan of Charles Bronson and you haven't seen Telephone, maybe go on Shout Factory and order it. I have no association with them. I'm not really promoting uh, you buying it from them, but if you're interested in Charles Bronson films, I've always liked that one. That's been pretty much my favorite film of all time. So it's kind of cool when I ended up getting that email from Shout Factory saying here's what we're going to be putting out in November, and then I saw Telephone, and I can't even find it on DVD, right? So it gives me the urge to buy it, even though I just can't justify spending like $40 or $50 on a movie, right? Others can. They have a higher budget for films than I do, but pretty much mostly everything that I buy, probably about 90 to 95% of all the stuff that I buy is used, secondhand. Uh, and it works out pretty good. I've got a pretty good library, even though I do that, and I don't really buy a lot of stuff new. I still got a pretty sweet library of films, right, that I'm watching. So, all right, and well, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing, and if you really like Charles Bronson films, Shout Factory's got two of them. We've got Telephone and Ives Saint Ives, two Charles Bronson films for your viewing pleasure if you wish to purchase them at such a high price. All right. Thank you for watching. You have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video, and bye for now.